Another chance after cheating? He walked over to the table where she sat waiting. She was dressed stunningly. Even after her recent childbirth, she looked as beautiful, sensual a woman as ever. He hadn't seen her in months, and out of the blue she had called him, asking to meet, to talk things over, to try to work things out, to get back together. So there he sat, face to face with the woman he'd once loved like no other. Until she broke his heart. After ordering drinks and exchanging a couple strained greetings, he began by saying, "You said you wanted to talk, so talk." Hurt by his callousness, his abruptness, the pretty red-haired woman replied coldly, "Have you stopped being angry yet?" Trying hard to ignore the woman's question, he asked his own, "Why do you want to get back together?" Caught off guard by his unexpected question, she involuntarily frowned slightly in response, pondering, trying to understand the background. He mistook her expression for one of annoyance and disapproval. His latent anger made itself known. "Good, I'll leave." He's about to get up. "Wait, stop! Why are you leaving? You just got here," she said nervously, her voice shaking slightly. "Answer my question and I'll consider staying longer," the man snapped at her. She looked into his eyes. She could always tell what mood he was in by his brown eyes. Only now all she saw was intense anger and something else. She didn't know what it was. Whatever it was, she felt it wasn't in her favor. "Yeah, I miss you. I want to have what we used to have. I love you. I need you," she said pleadingly. Somewhat reassured by her answer, the man made himself comfortable in the chair. "You didn't need me when you were with him. How can you say you love me when you lied to me and deceived me? The whole time we were together, you were with him, making love to him, loved him." "What is this?" said the man in a voice full of contempt. Lowering her head in shame, she said, "I know. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I wasn't thinking." Raising her head to look at him, her eyes filled with tears, she added, "Please, I'm so sorry. I won't do it again. Never! Just take me back." Shaking his head in disgust at her response, the man looked at the crying woman. Once his heart would have melted at her tears, but now all he felt was cold anger with no compassion in it. "I thought you were different. I thought you were serious about us. I thought what I felt and said mattered to you. I was wrong. You're just another cheating fool." "No, please, don't say that. I really love you, just you. No one else. Please. I made a mistake. I can't go back. I wish I could, but I can't," she cried in despair. He felt anger boil up in him at her words. He tried to calm himself down. After a few seconds of her quiet tears, he managed to pull himself together. "When we first met, I thought I had found the perfect woman. In every way, you were the woman I'd been looking for all my life. For too long, I'd been wallowing in the filth of my job, and you made me feel that there really was good in the world. I was flying high every day after that. Then I found out about him, but you convinced me it was over. Against my better judgment, I believed you. Things went differently after that, but somehow we managed to stay together and we moved on. I continued to have suspicions, nevertheless. I agreed with what you said. But it's not really over yet. You lied to me. You planned and executed a very well thought-out deception." The woman groaned as if in pain when he spoke. She wanted to deny it, to pretend it had never happened. But the truth was confirmed by the facts. "You gave birth to his child. It wasn't a mistake or even an accident." "A mistake? You deliberately got him pregnant. It takes planning to go off the pill and get pregnant. I doubt it happened all at once. I'm guessing you were with him several times, until you were sure you were pregnant. So tell me, what exactly was the mistake?" "I didn't want to." She was crying. "He made me do it." "Oh, so he used you by making sure you weren't on the pill first? Maybe he was waiting to use you? For a few weeks or maybe a couple months?" the man said sarcastically. "In the meantime, maybe he's been practicing it? Is that what you're telling me?" Yes, no, I mean he was strong. He wouldn't take no for an answer. He wanted to have sex all the time, then he wanted a baby. Somehow he found my birth control pills and threw them down the toilet. It was a new purchase. It was a 90-day prescription. I tried. I'm not buying it, he said, interrupting. What do you mean? It's the truth. I'm not lying. Yeah. Listen to yourself. Nothing but excuses. And they suck. How many times have you turned me down when I wanted to make love to you? I can tell you it's been many times. And if I remember correctly, you even went so far as to convince me that no means no. How often did that happen? Why, let me think. More often than we made love. So why not use the same methods with him? Tell me. She looked around, seeing nothing, trying to gather her thoughts. His questions were sharp. Why had she allowed herself to be forced? Why didn't she tell him no? I don't know. I think... No. That's not an answer. The man said louder than he intended, noticing that several diners turned their heads toward the table where they were sitting. More calmly, he continued. Why didn't you tell him no? Ah? What power does he have over you that you mindlessly do what he says? I'm so sorry. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's, commanding. She explained carefully, almost fearfully. Oh, and I'm not. I'm not the dominant type? Is that it? Hissed the man in a rage. No, that's not it. You're loving. You don't take. You give. You are kind, caring, gentle. You listen to me, and you don't force yourself on me. That's why I love you so much. It did me a lot of good to have you in his bed instead of mine. You could have left him at any time. Did he threaten you physically? No. Did he hold you against your will? No. In fact, you deliberately stayed with him. Isn't that right? Please! Why are you treating me like a criminal? You act like we're in court and you're the prosecutor. Please stop. Can't you see that I'm hurting too? The man's eyes widened and his nostrils flared as his anger threatened to burst out. He visibly calmed down, forcing himself to pull himself together. I'm a criminal defense attorney. Or have you forgotten that? Although you didn't break any laws by sleeping with him and having a child with him, you broke your oath to me. How am I supposed to feel? You said you loved me. You said you wanted us to have a family, that you wanted to have my children, to spend the rest of your life with me. And what a fool I was to believe your nonsense. So, tell me how I should react to your, indiscretion, he said with a cruel laugh. And how did I hurt you in any way? Because I won't take back a cheating wife? At his words, her eyes filled with such a flood of tears that she could no longer see him, and her shoulders shook with sudden pain. He was right. She couldn't deny the rightness of his words. She had told him that, and she went on. Can't you give me another chance? I will never see him again. I promise you. I will be yours alone. Please, I'm begging you. I love you. I didn't realize how strong I felt until you stopped calling me and we stopped seeing each other. I've missed you so much these past months that my heart hurts all the time. Please, honey, I know now that you're the only man for me. You always will be. Do you want another chance? The man asked thoughtfully with a cruel twist of his mouth. Okay. All right. Here's your chance. Get rid of the baby. Sign it over to him. Tell him to his face that you hate what he made you have. Tell him you hate everything about him, including his baby, and never come in contact with him or his child, he said with sudden fervor. You do that, and maybe we'll have a chance. We'll leave the state. We'll start all over again. I'm a very good lawyer. I could easily get a job with some decent firm and be on top in no time. His words shocked her, even horrified her. To give up on her son? To hate her own child? The thought made her sick, and a new pain settled in her heart. She couldn't do it. She couldn't give up her child. Suddenly she realized it. And with that realization came an even deeper despair. He was going to leave her. She knew it now. To leave her forever. She shook her head incredulously. How had it come to this? She knew she had screwed up, but she really thought he would forgive her. She started sobbing openly and loudly. "Stop it! You're making a scene! Stop crying or I'll leave right now," the man ordered. "I'm sorry. Please. I'll stop," she sobbed. "Well, stop. Or, I can't. I just can't. He's my son. No matter who his father is, he's my child. Please don't ask me to do this. Please. I'll do anything else. I'll be your slave. I'll give you something else. Another child. Your son. But not this. Please." Shaking his head, the man stood up. "No, it's either that or nothing. You brought this on yourself. You lied to me. You thought you could have your cake and eat it," the man said calmly, almost nonchalantly. "I'm not going to raise someone else's child, and obviously I won't have to do that. Goodbye." "Wait, please, can we—" she started. "We have nothing to wait for, and we can't do anything. It's perfectly clear to me. You've made your choice. We're done. Go back to him. Go back to your husband," he said with bitter resignation, slowly walking away from the woman and out the door of the restaurant. The end. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Husband's revenge for cheating. I know. I said it much more calmly than I felt. My wife, with whom we've lived for 32 years, paused. "You know what?" Melinda asked simply, continuing to change out of her work clothes. It was a Thursday evening. Like many evenings lately, she had gotten home at least 2 hours later than one would expect, considering her work was only 15 minutes away from our house. "I know you're cheating on me. I suspect you've been doing it for quite some time, based on how many times we've made love in the last year. We haven't had sex because you don't have the attraction anymore," she said. "You started having problems, and then once you started taking those meds, you can't do anything but get fat. You know as well as I do that those meds are the only thing that saves me from having a stroke, heart attack, or worse." I gritted my teeth. For some unknown reason, my blood pressure was completely out of control. It seemed to happen almost overnight, and my blood pressure was either so low I could barely stand, or it would rise until I could hear my pulse roaring and feel a pounding behind my eyes. I woke up in the hospital, not even knowing where I was, and discovered that I had been there in a semi-coma for 3 weeks. That was almost 7 months ago. Large doses of medication were now keeping my blood pressure even, but my dignity had stopped working. This depressed me immensely, and the antidepressants were making my problem worse. I tried the little blue pill, but it didn't help much. It usually gave me a headache. Oh, the baby would sometimes wake up a little. I was getting semi-rigid, usually in the morning. If my wife was annoyed by this condition, I was furious. Still, it didn't excuse the fool's actions. "Don't bullshit me," I said angrily. "There are other ways to have sex. You're worried about your privacy? Not that I know you make love to other men?" I asked incredulously. "I won't get relief if I don't do it myself, but will you act like a cheating slut?" "Don't call me a cheater," Melinda roared. "You know I have needs. I've always been very sexual. I accepted that I had a choice. Keep you around as a husband and companion or watch you die in a coma. Do you know how hard it was to watch the love of my life lay there in a coma? I changed the diapers they put on you. It was humiliating and disgusting, but I did it. My duty as a wife was to help you through it. I still come home every day to be with you. I only go out on Friday nights. You come home 2 hours late 4 or 5 times a week, while home is a short drive from your office. Your outings on Friday nights are without me and have been for a long time. I know you don't drink with your coworkers. You meet men, you dance, you drink, and then you make love." Suddenly, Melinda changed tactics. "Look, I admit that I had sex with another man. Like I told you, I have needs. There is absolutely no emotional connection between us like you and I have. I think of him as a toy." I laughed at her attempts to trick me. "That guy? Why not use his name? Dave Fisher. And a toy isn't going to take you to a dance or a restaurant. You're used to it." So you know his name, okay? You and I used to go out to dinner and then we'd dance and stuff. We'd go on great vacations, cruises, travel all over the world. With this virus, the traveling stopped. For months, you can't stay awake past 8 o'clock at night. Melinda grumbled. Then she paused, pondering. I'm surprised you know his name. I think you've been following me. I know you can't do that yourself. You can't drive safely with such erratic blood pressure. You could pass out behind the wheel. It's a waste of money to watch me. I always come home to you. You don't need to know I'm having a little fun on the side. I hate that it might bother you. But I have needs. What about Bob Edwards? I understand Dave introduced you too. Bob takes over everything and keeps you occupied when Dave gets busy. I continued sourly. You're really following me? You've been following me and it's all for nothing, other than scolding me and making me feel even worse. You know you can't do without me. I take you to your doctor's appointments. I cook your meals. Even just playing with your dog tires you out. Your spying pisses me off. It's disrespectful as hell that you're spying on me. Disrespectful? And these guys are just toys? I took a few deep breaths to calm myself down. I felt my blood pressure skyrocket. What about your talk about how I can't do anything? Sitting here at home, playing with my dog. Did you hear that? Yeah, I said some pretty wild shit, but it's not real. I was just charging their batteries. Both of these guys go crazy thinking they're humiliating another man, especially their boss. I assume you know they both work for your company, but they get that tough when I elevate them. I want them to feel like studs. They know I use them for lovemaking, but they have no idea that I only think of them as toys, darling. You're my man. Yes. I know I'm turned on by these guys, but it's like using a toy. Wait a minute. You know about our private conversations? You're bugging me. This is unacceptable, Melinda declared. Do you have a wire in my purse or my apartment? I'm good. I know you're mad. But you and I have been together for so long that we've become one piece. Yeah, I have a couple guys servicing me, but I always take care of you. Well, maybe not in a loving way. I tried some things, but you turned me down. These guys are nothing more than toys. Really? That's a total disregard for my feelings, a lack of respect. I could tell my face was red. The fact that she was disregarding my suffering compounded my anger. Oh, don't raise your blood pressure, Melinda said. Yeah, these guys are the modern version of a toy. You need to grow up, be a man, accept the inevitable. I will make love to these guys whenever I need to. They're toys. I'm coming home to you. You'll probably live another 25 years, like your parents, well into their 80s. And I'll be by your side the whole time. It's you I love. We'll be together until we die. I ordered you dinner. It should be delivered soon. I've got a date, and I'm going to loosen up a little bit. I was going to tell you that I have to go back to the office to finalize my contract for tomorrow, but since you already know about my boyfriends, I'll be honest. You eat and go to bed, and tomorrow when I get home from work, we'll talk again. I'll be a couple hours at most, but I know you'll be asleep by then. You seriously need to start thinking of these guys as nothing more than a toy. You bet. Seriously? I growled, amazed at her audacity. After all this talk, you're still going to make love to them? What a slutty woman. You know I hate that word. It's demeaning and contemptuous. You're seriously going to piss me off. I've tried to be respectful of your feelings. That's why I've kept my activities secret. You want a slutty wife? When I get home, I might just climb into bed unshowered and sweaty. I want you to apologize. No way. I turned and walked out. My faithful border collie Roscoe followed on my heels. At least I have one friend who still respects me. That night I didn't sleep well. The bed in the guest room was lumpy, but there was no way I would have slept in my regular bed. If I had a lock on the door, I would have used it. I suspected that this cheating bitch really hadn't bothered to take a shower to wash the nasty stuff off herself before she went to bed. I needed the rest. I knew I was going to be busy the next day, and I hoped to make it through it. I was up early and sitting at the kitchen table sipping coffee when Melinda walked in. I planned out my day. I had most of my chores taken care of, but I still had some things to do. I ignored Melinda's greeting as she poured herself a cup. Look, we need to talk. I'm sorry for rubbing your nose in my activities. I took a shower before I went to bed, only to discover you weren't there. Maybe we can sit down and talk about things like adults when you get over your little irritation. Annoyance? I thought incredulously. I tried my best to keep a neutral expression on my face and keep my mouth shut. I have needs, and these guys help me fulfill them. But they mean no more to me than a toy. I love you. We had a great marriage. We've produced 3 wonderful children. I intend to stay with you. I want us to get along, and to do that, you need to understand and accept that if you can't meet my sexual needs, I have to take care of it elsewhere. I will do my best to make sure it doesn't interfere with our home life. I can see I'm overreacting. Oh, I wish you'd stop eavesdropping on my conversations. I'm gonna find that bug, find it, and destroy it. And if you made a tape last night, for God's sake, don't listen to it. It'll only make you more upset. But you're not going to stop, I said quietly. You're not even sorry you ruined our marriage. I wonder what your boys will do when they get fired. Oh, you won't fire them, Melinda said. You'll be humiliated when your little weakness goes public. Everyone will know that the reason you fired them was because they were doing your job as my partner. And no, I'm not going to stop. But I will be careful. I have plans to go clubbing tonight since it's Friday night and I'll be home very late. But I will spend tomorrow afternoon with you. If you're in a better mood, we can snuggle up to each other, maybe kiss and make good love to both of us. Look at the time. I have to go to work. I have to go home to change after work. Think about this. We don't need the money I make or my career. I keep working mostly to keep my days occupied. Maybe I should quit my job and stay home with you. We can do things together, you know, like buddies. My boyfriends will only be available in the evenings anyway. Think about it. I'm glad we had this little conversation. She smiled and had that strolling gait as she left the house. Melinda was right about a few things. For one thing, I would have been upset if I'd listened to the tape of her conversation last night. But I had already listened to it. I fast-forwarded through the love part. The interesting part was how she was blowing off steam. This conversation had only strengthened my resolve. Ron knows about us, she said briefly. He's watching us and has somehow installed listening devices to spy on us. She raised her voice a little. Ron, if you're listening, you can kiss my ass. I heard the man, who I knew was Bob, curse quietly. No, he's not going to fire you or Dan. He wouldn't want everyone to know about his illness. And he's almost retired, so you won't have to see him at work. I've looked, but so far I haven't been able to find the bug if there is one. He could pay someone to plant the bug here. We might have to hire a professional to find them all. Right now, I don't care if he can hear me. I realize he'd be pissed if he found out about our lovemaking. He just said making love, but didn't mention any of the really wild things we do. She raised her voice again. You don't know the half of it, Melinda said angrily. He'd crossed the line after I'd carefully explained that the 3 of us were just call sex. He called me a slutty fool. I was very close to kicking his ass. I'm in great shape and he's so weak he doesn't stand a chance. I didn't want to hear any more. This was more than enough. I thought about the steps I'd already taken. My business had been mine before we'd gotten married years ago. Melinda was entitled to half of our joint property, which was considerable, but I had changed my will to give my half to my children. I cut her out of my will altogether. In some states, you can't disinherit your spouse, but in mine, you can. Despite Melinda's optimistic view of my longevity, I had my doubts. But if I live long enough, I plan to divorce that unfaithful fool. She'll get as little as legally possible. I was sitting in my chair when Melinda walked in the door that evening. Dan, call me back, she said over the phone. I'm going to get dressed and take an Uber to the club. This is the 5th message I'm leaving you. If you don't call me back, I'll call Bob again. One or both of you better meet me. I'm in no mood to be turned down." Melinda paused to look at me, sitting calmly. "Okay. You've heard me talking to my toys." "You know I do," Melinda said. She went into the bedroom and came out 20 minutes later in a little black dress that barely reached mid-thigh. "You seem to be in a good mood," she continued. "I hope our little talk last night and this morning about my friends meaning no more to me than battery-operated toys has finally gotten to you," she grinned. "You're smiling and seem very calm. I think the booze helps too," she added, noticing the bottle of whiskey on my side table and the full glass in my hand. I nodded. "Good. I'm glad you're finally mature enough to accept that my little fun on the side is just me scratching an itch. But it's probably not a good idea to drink too much, not with your meds." "Look here," I said and beckoned Roscoe over. He immediately sat down. "Lie down, roll over, sit down, beg." My faithful border collie performed flawlessly. He danced in circles at my command. Melinda yawned. "That dog is the only thing that's gotten you off your ass in the last few months." "Great." I could tell she had other thoughts on her mind, despite her words of encouragement. She looked at me for a few seconds. "You do seem happy and content. I think you're beginning to realize that my little amusements don't make much difference. Just like using a couple toys to make me happy," Melinda repeated. The way she said it, I realized she wanted me to verbally agree with her. "Appreciate it," I said enthusiastically, not reacting in any way to her words. Melinda grinned and once again congratulated me for finally growing up and accepting her need to play. I was getting tired of her repeating herself, so I decided to move on. I pointed to a plate on the table beside me, next to a bottle of whiskey. 4 oblong pieces of meat lay there. Melinda barely glanced at them and shrugged. Roscoe had once again performed admirably. Melinda watched quietly, checking her phone periodically. I started feeding Roscoe pieces of meat as he obeyed and performed. "Do you think it's safe to feed raw meat to a dog?" she asked. I shrugged. "Where are those guys?" Melinda muttered again. I raised my hand, showing her the last piece of meat in my palm. Finally, she looked at it closely. Her eyes widened. "It almost looks like," she said in a hushed voice, almost a whisper. "Uh-huh. I took the batteries out of your toys. The end! Subscribe to my channel. Thank you!"